Blog Talk Radio.
This is the News in 10, our international affairs program that we spotlight the world. That's not a hard thing to do. Bostonred Radio on the 25th of September 2008. In the U.S. here, the Syrian civil war has taken center stage of domestic politics. Thus, all eyes are on the international scene now, even in the U.S. However, the world's eyes, at least the financial eyes, are on the G20, which is in St. Petersburg. There's a statement by V.I. Putin here. I told world leaders at the G20 summit, I hope I said G20 summit, that a return to economic crisis cannot be ruled out. He said he's not resolved the problems. They have not resolved the problems of the world economy towards a steady and balanced growth. There's no doubt about that. That's in St. Petersburg. They're discussing it, tightening up multinational companies' tax avoidance. That's a major thing here. The meeting's economic agenda, of course, is overshadowed by Syria. President Putin said, our main task is returning the global economy towards steady and balanced growth. This task has unfortunately not been resolved. Systemic risk, the condition of an acute crisis relapse persists. Leaders also agree to work to boost employment and growth. Easy money. The meeting between representatives of countries that account for two-thirds of the world's population also pondered the effects of an end to the U.S. financial stimulus. That's called QE3. Here, leading economies in the Eurozone and the U.S. Showing signs of economic growth, however slowly. This is from the BBC, incidentally. That in itself means that policymakers, particularly in the U.S., are planning to edge down the lax monetary policy brought into to avert the effects of the credit crunch. Some observers are concerned that investors are not ready to deal with the end to easy money and rock-bottom interest rates. The chairman of the central bank, Dr. Bernanke, said in May that the U.S. may start to rein in the $85 billion a month bond buying program. But his remarks caused utter chaos in the U.S. markets. China's representatives say at the meeting that the U.S. should go easy on this and be mindful of the spillover effects. That's very important. We talk about that on Numbers, man. That's our financial program. But no doubt the effects in the emerging markets and the rest of the world, and work to contribute to the stability of financial global markets and to a steady recovery of the global economy. The G20 became an independent platform for global policy discussion in 2008, relatively new. Rebooted to coordinate a global response to fighting financial crisis. One of the main topics to emerge this year has been multinational corporations, the use of legal and highly complex tax systems. The crisis ridden in Syria is the most immediate. Now, one thing to understand now, the crisis in Syria is something that is seen in the U.S. as a crisis. It's not seen in much of the rest of the world. China has little to do with this other than it's thrown into the UN in their lap. The Russian Republic more so because they are involved with Syria and have been involved with Syria for over 50 years. So there's a disagreement here. The British have come out with what they call more evidence. Is it more evidence? Doubtful. That's the Tory Prime Minister come with fresh evidence on the use of chemicals. That has been bandied about by the French intelligence and by various other people. Scientists at the Porton Downs Laboratory have been examining samples of the Syrian capital, he said. Now, the problem here is the examination of samples is the business of the UN. It's not the business of these independent laboratories. the UN and its atomic agency is taking care of that. And he's even trying to claim he has no hand to play over Syria after losing his vote. So the UK would lead a call for more action on aid for refugees and pushing fresh peace talks. Well, there can't be any peace while, as Einstein said, while you're simultaneously preparing for war. So this is just a smoke screen to, as they say, favor save face. The President Barack Obama, of course, he's there. He claims chemical weapons also. But these claims of chemical weapons have really not been verified by disinterested parties. We have the French intelligence saying that they have them. And you'll hear a little bit debate. You heard a little bit debate as we came in here from the French Parliament when they were debating this along with the Prime Minister there. So there are a number of things going on here, and will obviously continue to go on as this is bantied about. But in Syria, they continue on. There's no doubt about that. The Syrian people are determined people, and they are determined to see this crisis through. So we'll move on. And another little item here. Lego has taken over Hasbro. It becomes the second largest toy maker. What does this mean? Well, who knows? That's from Denmark, a Danish corporation. The firm is controlled by the Danish richest man, Clausen. He's the grandson of the founder of Lego. We used to play with Lego's toys. They have no doubt changed, also been boosted by its new Legends of Chima range. What that's supposed to be. Slow sales in Europe and the U.S. were offset by boom in Asia. So Legos, like many other things in Asia, they're constructing a factory in China. It's under construction. So now we went to on the march in Asia. We used to have construction booms and things from the Legos toys that were more, as we'll say, educational. Now they have some characters shooting some guns. If we didn't have enough people shooting guns to nowhere. It's like in the U.S. we had a bridge to nowhere. In the U.S. we have a big strike. We'd be remiss but not taking this out against the U.S. Largest employer, Walmart. And they're in China and other places. The people are demanding $25,000 per year for full-time workers. There are not very many of those. And want fired colleagues reinstated that were demonstrating in a place in Arkansas. Now, the fast food workers, Walmart employs 1.3 million U.S. workers. And many of these workers earn the minimum wage, which is it hovers around $7 to $8 an hour. Fast food workers in the U.S. have also been out. They are also demonstrating at the headquarters of Williams Capital Management, and 200,000 people have signed a petition. Some have been arrested there at that particular store. Now, the 25,000, that's for full-time people. They're all over the place, from Baton Rouge in Louisiana to Chicago and Boston and Cincinnati to Dallas to Denver to Los Angeles to Miami in Florida, Minneapolis in the Midwest. The headquarters is also the infamous Target organization, which pays less. Orlando in Florida, Sacramento in California, and San Francisco, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. This action will be larger than the what they call Black Friday in 2012. So in other words, we'll continue on here. The organization United for Respect at Walmart And the Food and Commercial Workers Union worked with them in the old P9. That was Packing House 9 strike back in the 80s. Said the strike follows Walmart's failure to meet a September 1st deadline for reinstating workers that were protesting their firing. So the grievance is out there, and they will continue to be out there. And workers are now going to jail in New York and basic other places. We have a congressional study here. We'll get more of it on Bostonred and Friday Jobber. I'll place a link on the site here. Our Walmart organization, United for Respect at Walmart. A nice picture of the Walmart workers here. A message video to download. And we'll put this on our site. So thus this does it for the headlines that we have. This is truly the news in about 15. Out of Syria, the situation remains basically the same. And as we come with more reports, we'll get back to Figueroa. And let's see, take a quick look here, La Figueroa, and see where it is and where the French Parliament is. We'll do that. We'll be back over the weekend. A nice picture of President Putin here. We'll put this up here. It's just nice. Standing at the G20 sign, and we'll get a little bit of that. We'll maybe a little bit late, but better late than never. Get a little translation here. It's not perfect, but it'll do for this type of work. Thirteen G20 countries refuse to support the U.S. and France. They're in their situation. Once the master of the scene, the Kremlin leader, did not have to force his temperament to reap the benefits of diplomatic post-lowball. Regulation-only policies, the condemnation of outside interference. There in St. Petersburg, this is from the Figueroa. In St. Petersburg, a very large majority of the 13 in the nation refused to endorse the plan. 5 emerging group of Baltics, including Russia, issued a statement warning against extremely negative impact military intervention would have. And the latter, based on information from Mr. Ed Snowden, he's in it also. More will need, of course, to deter the administration of Barack Obama. But nonetheless, it is out there, and they're moving on. Has allowed the creation of Russian American corporation, good and constructed deep, despite model disagreements. The American president also talked about this, and from Vladimir Putin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, he added that the Congress on the international law has no legitimacy to authorize a strike, and the Kremlin to call Barack Obama not to repeat the mistakes of the administration of G.W. Bush during the preparation of the Iraq War, and it was a tremendous mistake. Nonetheless, this ends our broadcast today. Good day.
La France est-elle prête à violer la Charte des Nations Unies qui nous lie à la communauté internationale? Au-delà du caractère illégal d'une telle intervention, c'est sa justification et sa légitimité même qui sont en cause. L'option militaire n'offre nulle solution de règlement du conflit, nulle perspective de paix pour le peuple syrien. Le chef de l'État s'entête dans une logique militaire, ignorant la situation d'urgence humanitaire et écartant les options alternatives. Il veut engager notre pays dans une entreprise aventureuse et illusoire, conduite par les États-Unis.
Certains nous disent qu'une réaction compliquerait encore la situation. Mais là aussi, j'en appelle à votre lucidité. la déstabilisation des pays de la région, qui font face à l'afflux de plus de 2 millions de réfugiés, est aussi une réalité. L'inaction face aux souffrances du peuple syrien fait le lit des extrémistes. Ne pas laisser impunis les crimes du régime syrien, c'est au contraire le moyen pour nos démocraties de conforter comme il le faut l'opposition syrienne modérée. C'est ainsi que nous serons fidèles à nos valeurs.
Demander un vote parlementaire dans quelques jours ou quelques semaines permettrait à la France de retrouver son autonomie de décision, c'est-à-dire sa souveraineté, nous donnerait la possibilité de voir comment les choses évoluent suite à la rencontre russo-américaine et au rapport des experts de l'ONU, et faisant en sorte que nous nous prononcions en dernier, nous permettrait de nous replacer au centre d'un jeu dans lequel, pour l'heure, nous paraissons marginalisés.
That my calculus about what's happening in Syria would be altered by the use of chemical weapons, which the overwhelming consensus of humanity says is wrong. That wasn't something I just kind of made up. My credibility is not on the line. The international community's credibility is on the line. And America and Congress's credibility is on the line because we give lip service to the notion that these international norms are important. And when those videos first broke and you saw images of over 400 children subjected to gas, everybody expressed outrage. How can this happen in this modern world? Well, it happened because a government chose to deploy these deadly weapons on civilian populations. There's no doubt that, as I indicated a while back, we've kind of hit a wall in terms of additional progress. But I have not written off the idea that the United States and Russia are going to continue to have common interests, even as we have some very profound differences on some other issues. And where our interests overlap, we should pursue common action. Where we've got differences, we should be candid about them, try to manage those differences, but not sugarcoat them.